And we want to bring you in, if you're new around here, this thing that we've been working on for several months now. It's called Be Rich. And Be Rich is this opportunity for us as a church to make sure we're focusing outside of the walls of our church and thinking about people and their needs and how to be generous and love people that don't necessarily come to our church or don't even believe what we believe. And to kick that off, last Saturday, we had the For the Students event. And again, if you're new here, I just want to make sure to catch you up. It's where we took over 100 students from the 3 county schools, paired them up with an adult, fed them lunch, and took them shopping. And the response on all levels has been absolutely overwhelming. And that was last Saturday. Kids got to buy all kinds of wonderful things, and they are invested in by adult that cared about them. And just to give you a quick recap, we wanted to give you a sneak peek of what happened last Saturday, so turn your attention towards the screens.
I'm most excited about this event to see just how it actually impacts the community and each individual school. My favorite part of the entire process is just seeing how many people actually volunteer, how many people come out, and hearing Matt, each week report as to how many people we have versus how many we need, and just the overwhelming support that everybody gives out.
I love the fact that we're able to give back to the community. These kids have so many needs, and getting to know them, it's my second year, and it's been such a blessing. Like, I look forward to this day now, second year in a row, so it's amazing.
For me, I feel very fulfilled and blessed. My girl picked out the cutest things, and we just have fun. It was a lot of fun to do this for her and for myself, and seeing her talking to her parents when we came back and telling them how much fun she had. That was amazing. It's really good. I encourage anyone to do it next year.
So it really was an amazing time. It was a Saturday out of the year, but man, we got to see some amazing things happen relationally, things bought for kids. My wife, Tina, sent out a survey to all of our volunteers, and we got back pages and pages and pages from the people that volunteered. It was almost like a manifesto that people wrote about this experience that they had. And then teachers wrote in from their experience on Monday morning as the kids walked in with their brand new clothes, and then families showed up here the next Sunday. It's just been overwhelming, but I wanted to share with you one story that came from, I believe, a female shopper. She took a young girl shopping, and she said, after lunch, this young gal started to open up, and she started to talk. And you know how this is, real quiet, and then it's just talk. And she shared about how she has 2 older brothers, and they don't have a lot of extra. And she has to wear often her older brother's hand-me-downs, which don't fit her very well. And this was a little heartbreaking, but it's just a reality of circumstances in people's lives. She says, sometimes I walk into a room and I feel like someone's making fun of me, or they're talking behind my back, because I don't necessarily have the clothes that the other girls have. And she says, so we just went after it. We filled up our shopping cart full with all kinds of things, this kind of clothes, and the little girl's eyes just lit up. And then she had to have one thing, just one thing she really wanted. And I love that. She wanted a pair of overalls. Isn't that awesome? She wanted a pair of overalls. So we went to Maurice's. There was one pair. I mean, it's as if God divinely orchestrated one pair of overalls left on the rack that fit her perfectly. And she put them on. She just lit up. And it just was an incredible experience. And I believe that little girl wore those overalls on Monday, and she was as proud as she can be. And I hope from deep down in her heart, she feels the love of God from connecting from one of our amazing volunteers from our church. But I wanted to read to you what that volunteer wrote on top of that. And I want to read, so I've got to go to the glasses to make sure I read it right. She said, "This was my absolute most rewarding thing I've done in a long time." Can I ask you a question? What's the most rewarding thing you've done in a long time? For this particular individual, was just taking a young girl shopping. Let me read that again. "This was the absolute most rewarding thing I've done in a long time. I grew up and my family didn't have a lot of money for food, clothes, and one summer a church did this for me, my siblings, and I personally know what it's like to be in her shoes. It's been 20 years since that summer. And it's something I still remember. For the students, it's something that this 10-year-old girl will remember and look back on and know that she is loved, even if we're just strangers at this point." And the reason that was so impactful to me is part of our faith is remembering. It's remembering what Jesus did when he gave everything for us. And it's also remembering what other people have done in the name of Jesus for us. And when we remember, think about this, when we remember, we're so prone to do it for someone else. And that's why we exercise this idea of being rich and a church. So we remember what's been done so we can do it for someone else. And just to recap, because I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. If you're new here, or you're jumping online from across the country, what happened last week. And I wanted to make sure you understand what happened. This was the plan. We're going to take a shopping day with 4th through 8th graders from the 3 county schools. We ended up having 107 kids being shopped for, and we're going to provide a minimum, or we're going to provide $175 per student, and we needed to raise a minimum of $25,000. And every time I tell somebody that our church is going to raise $25,000 in 7 days, they're like, "That cannot be done." And I say the same thing every time. You do not know our church. So here's what happened a day before the shopping trip happened. We looked at each other when inflation's up, gas is up, everything's up. And you know how you do when you talk about that? It's like, you know how you feel when you do that? So why don't we just do that? In light of inflation, let's just take the simple number of $175 and throw it up to $200 to make sure these kids have extra whatever they need. Now here's a little secret. And not everybody did this, nor did they have to, but we had a whole bunch of people that were adults on this trip that just paid out of their own pocket the $200 and gave their money in the envelope to someone else. It was so cool. And a marker for this day is over 100 pairs of shoes were bought. 100 pairs of shoes on kids' feet. Isn't that awesome? And the value of that is the kids got to pick it out themselves. Time. Because you know this, time sometimes is more valuable than money. I can give you money, but I don't want to give you my time. For this one-day event, you all volunteered 164 of your own people as volunteers to pull this off, and we needed every one of you. Side note, men, women are always good at this. Men, I saw you show up and put up and give all you had to make this happen. So the men and women and students in our church, so proud of that. Next number I want to show you, this was 40 more volunteers than last year, which means you all are catching this wave of what it looks like to be generous. And then this last thing I just want to show you, there was over 1,000 hours given in one day. It was so cool to watch that happen. And again, time is often more valuable than money. Now let's talk about money, because money matters. You got to have money to get stuff done. Total money given. We asked you all to raise $25,000 to make this happen. And you know, last year you went really big and you raised $38,000 and change. And so we were able to give a whole lot away. Do y'all want to know how much you raised this year? Do you want to know? Well, I'm not going to tell you if that's all you say. Do y'all want to know how much you raised this year? Come on, I'm excited. I've been with teenagers all weekend. Last year we raised $38,000. This year we raised $51,550. So good. That was 38 or 30% more than last year and $28,000 more than we asked you to raise. And the reason that is important is all those students got shopped for and spent time with, but now we're gonna take this extra $28,000, we're gonna give them to the 3 local schools and the school at the Godi for hygiene products, undergarments, which are a big deal right now, especially for young girls, shoes, more coats to help pay for school lunches. It's my understanding that school lunches aren't free like they once were to the level of, and we're gonna make sure kids are fed, and this is gonna just help that happen, and we're gonna lean into this, and we're about to give that money away. But I wanna remind you what drives all of this. It's something that the Apostle Paul said to this young pastor, Timothy. We've been reading this all through our Be Rich season. He said, Timothy, command those who are rich in this present world. And I just wanna remind you, if yesterday you ate some decent meals, if you drove in your car, you're rich in this world compared to third world countries. We're rich people in America. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds. Not just, hey, I'm a follower of Jesus, praise Jesus, but do that, live it out in your world and be generous, which you guys have been and willing to share. And I love this. And actually right now, I'm gonna invite 3 school representatives on stage and they're gonna join me. And as they come up, I just wanna say, we have watched you all live this out. And the truth is, when we started Be Rich 10 years ago, it was a little harder to get the momentum going because we were still learning as a church to be generous and give, and you guys knocked it out of the park. But I wanna introduce you to 3 people that helped make this whole thing go well. This is Gotcha. These guys represent all 3 schools, Crestview, Lincolnview, and Wert, and we would not have been able to do this without them. They worked and worked to get the kids ready, to get the families ready, to prep it all, to get us all the sizes. Do you know how hard it is to get sizes for 100 different kids from 100 different families? And they gave everything they have. Will you give it up for these guys just for how awesome they've been? So I'm gonna ignore these guys just for a second and just really quick tell you guys how much we appreciate y'all. And here's what we don't realize not being in the school system. We threw in for a day, gave you some money, we're so glad to do that, but you guys are in the battle day in and day out, loving kids, working with families, and we realize this is important, our little piece, because we're not claiming more than what we should. We just want you to know we're behind you guys. So we're gonna take the $28,000, we're gonna divide it amongst the schools and make sure you guys have your needs. I'm gonna give you an envelope, and the truth is, my integrity says the envelope is empty, so don't look inside it till after second service, just so you all know. But it makes me feel good to give you something this morning, and take it and just keep loving those kids. And here's what we hope. We hope in the future we can figure out how to partner with you guys in bigger and better ways. But just one more thing. I want to invite some students and some kids to come into the room, because our students and our kids have been at work and they have been putting together these food boxes as they walk up the aisle. We heard, you guys can give it up for these kids. That's awesome. So if you all don't know, we heard that there was a need. Yeah, that's awesome. I'll just let you clap. That's good. Put them up there, guys. They're fine. Put them up there. That's awesome. Keep coming. Keep coming. I didn't know there was going to be this many kids. Keep coming. That's awesome. Oh, you guys are so awesome. So awesome. So what we heard is students have a need in school just for snacks. Just in between meals, just to make sure they're having enough. And, maybe your kids go to school with plenty of snacks and plenty of money of snacks, but we heard this. And so we're supplying in this service 100 boxes of snacks for kids in second service. We'll see what shows up. Hey, buddy, how are you doing? I'm getting some love from that guy right there. That guy up there. Everybody, all right, I want all the students to look at me. I'm going to say something to all of you guys. Look up here real quick. Look at me. Hey, I want you guys to know that what you guys did by packing these boxes represents Jesus well, and you're learning something that I didn't learn until I was much, much older than you guys, that the best life is lived when we're generous. And I want everybody to turn towards the audience. Turn around, everybody. Look at the audience. And audience, family members, let's clap for these guys one more time. All right, kids, get out of here and go back to your own environments. You have a lot more fun in there than you will in here. You guys can have a seat. Thank you guys for partnering with us or allowing us to partner with you. We love you and appreciate what you're doing. Now, I'll say the same thing. Get off, because it'll be better to sit than talk. Give these guys a hand one more time, will you? Oh, I don't know. I think what I just saw happen with those kids walking down the aisle might be my favorite part of this whole Be Rich season. And I just want to remind you, you all in a church that is for its students and its children, and it's making a difference.